Hey guys, it's Kip here from KDC Marketing, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create a simple wireframe inside of Figma from scratch using the simple design system from Figma. This is a free community file that anybody can use. So I'm going to show you how you can create a wireframe using this file here from Figma. So the first thing you have to do is you have to add it to your assets. And so I have this simple design system here. There's these other ones that you can use. These are more for UI UX. So this would be like for mobile, iOS and other things like that. But I'm going to add this one here. And so once I've added it to my file, then I can go into these assets, and it's giving me all of these different pre-made examples of pages or different components. So there's icons, they have forms, and they also have full pages. Let me just show you an example of what this wireframe looks like. So I'm going to go in and add a home page here. So if I go to homepage, I click on this section, and then I can add it either desktop or mobile. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this instance here. So I inserted the whole desktop version. So this is an example homepage. And wireframing is really important when it comes to doing web design because it helps you think through the structure of the website before you actually go in and add any visual design. And so it's supposed to be like this, where you have placeholder text and placeholder images, and you're just kind of getting the framework of the website all figured out and edited before you go in and build it. And you can edit these different components here. So I could change this title to say, welcome to my website. And there's a good reason to change these that I will show you in a second. But this is a full page, but they also have some really great other pages you can use, but they also have some sections as well. So here's the landing page version. So I could go ahead and insert that, and now I've got my landing page here. And then I can also insert the desktop version or the mobile version. So if I change this, I can also change the color. Maybe I want it to be dark theme. And they have a couple of options here. I'm going to go with light just so it matches the current one. And then I'll insert this instance, and now I have the desktop version and the mobile version, and I can go in and customize this. So I can go in and add different icons here. So I just click this drop down and I can add a house icon. And then same thing here. I can add, another icon I can scroll through and find. So the reason you would want to use one of these libraries is that they have all these pre-made components, all these pre-designed sections, and so it just really speeds up the the production time that you have when you're going to create the website. You don't have to worry so much about design and spacing and elements and components and all of that stuff. You got to start with a pre-made system that you can customize and format and change however you want so that you can get to the end result a lot faster. And I'm going to show a few other sections here. So they have these different sections that you can just add. So for example, let's say I wanted a hero action. So this is kind of like a hero section here, or let's say I wanted a hero basic. I just insert this. This is a basic hero section. So these are very low fidelity wireframes. They have a little bit of design, like you'll have one here for, you find one that has a good example. So let's say this grid image. So it's got a little bit, so these are cards, and then you have images, you have elements. They have some that have testimonials on them. So like this one has a little bit of design where there's an image here, reviewer name, and then you can customize these. But what I really like about this Figma kit is they also have the specific cards broken down themselves. So for example, I can find this review card, this single card right here, just by itself. So you have the full section where it's all together, but you also have the card by itself here. And then you can change this up here again to, oh, actually I wanted a product info card, or actually I wanted this to be a testimonial card. And so you can change these sections, up here as well. There's lots of ways to change them, but you have the little individual components you need and also the bigger components. So if you wanted to build something completely different, where it's a bunch of quotes together. Maybe they're stacked on top of each other like this. And so there's not a section that exists like that. And so you're going to make your own section in here like this, and there's going to be something else over here. You can do that because you have each of these little components, and they have this for all the different areas. They have the buttons, they have the avatars, they've got the forms, calendars, dialogue, icons, so the individual icons that you can just pull in. And so this is a really good example of a simple system that you can use to start building out wireframes. And you can see just how quickly I can create some home pages, landing pages, about pages, and then I can go in and customize it like I did here. So the other thing is once you get this how you want it, so I have this one, welcome to my website. Thanks for stopping by. This is what I would never say in a hero section, but just to show you an example, if I pull this section out of here, let me just redo this. I can change it up here to mobile. So now I have to do a little bit of editing here because my frames are a little bit messed up, but so it's using auto layout, so I had to change this to fill container. But now I have the mobile version of that section. I could do the same thing with my header. So I bring this out, and then I just come into mobile, and it's going to stack the hamburger menu. And then I just start stacking these things together. So here's this and this, and then I could do this one. And so then I have, this one's just a frame. Let's find another component here. So let's do this, and then I can make this mobile. And these would have all the changes that I made to it here on the customization side for mobile and desktop. So I really love using these wireframe kits. This one is a good one, this simple design system from Figma. If you're just getting started with wireframes, it's really good to play around with these kits and get familiar with how they work. And you can, of course, take things out. You can add things back in. And there is a little bit of understanding that you need on how components work and how auto layout works, because that can be frustrating if you don't know how these are structured. Like, for example, to get this centered, this component, this little frame needs to fill the container. Otherwise, I can't center it. So if I come up here, I can't even select the position. But if I change the width to fill container, now it's stretching across, and now I can center this text, and I can get it to be in the middle instead of on the side. I can also change this to a different size, and they have text styles too, which is fantastic. So now I have all these text styles, so all I have to do is just click in here, and I have title page, and maybe instead of subheading, I want to use heading for that. So again, it's just a few clicks here instead of totally starting from scratch, creating my custom wireframe from scratch and having to do all of this as I go. I get to just start and edit what's existing here just to get me to my layout faster. And a lot of times these sections are pretty close to what you need. So for example, hey, I need a 3-column layout. Perfect, I have that right here. Maybe I need a 2-column layout. Oh great, this one's here like this. Maybe I need a layout where I have an image and I have a text by it. So this is a really common one for 2-column layouts. So right here, I have a section like that right here, this panel image contents. Let me go zoom out and insert this in. Okay, so here we go. So I've got one now with text on one side, image on the other. And so a lot of the basic components you would need to build a good wireframe are already here. So there's really no point in starting from scratch. If you wanted to, of course, you could build your own custom wireframe. You would just come in here, select your frame size. So you'd have like your desktop here, and you could start building a wireframe out however you wanted to do it. Like maybe this is your hero section. So you've got an image here, and you could get this to be a little closer to size correctly. And then you could build out another section where you'd have 3 columns. So you can go this route where you have something like this. You have something here and here and here. You can obviously build a custom wireframe, but my thought is, why do that when you have a system that is already pre-designed, that's really simple and basic, that can get you to your destination a lot faster? The whole point of wireframing is to get a sense of the structure of the website, how it's going to work. And if you're not a designer, or if your design isn't your strongest area, like me, I'm not technically a designer, then this could take me a lot of time to get this to where it needs to go. But these wireframes are already ready to go, optimized, so many components, so many things I can select from, and I can select the pieces as well as the full sections, as well as the full pages. So really, really love this. And I have some other libraries that I really like. I really like the Rayloom library too. So you can add this. There's a library that I could add here. This is another one that I love using. So I'm able to add this system, and I'll have to show that in another video, how to add these different systems. And it says down here you can add more libraries. So you can go into this UI kits, and you could add in the material design kit, for example. That's going to have different things inside of it. So these are a great way to get started. These little kits or design systems, they can really speed things up and help you get there a lot faster. One thing that I do want to point out, because this can be frustrating if you don't know, is if you want to preview this in the prototype section, these need to be in frames. So the Figma ones, I think, come this way, but sometimes you have components that are not frames. And so what I mean by that is over here, you can see that these are actually framed here, whereas this one, I don't think it'll let me do this component here. Yeah, so if I try to go over, see, I'm only getting those first few frames. So if I want this one to show up, I have to place this in a frame. So I have to right click and say frame selection, or do the keyboard shortcut. But as soon as I do that, it puts it in a blue, and over here it changed as well. And now I can view this in my prototype preview. So now here's that section as one of those things I can view. So if you have components, sometimes you do have to put them in frames like that. Otherwise, they won't show up there. But some of these example pages, they're in kind of a frame or column structure or something like that, so that they can show up. So if you found this video helpful, I think it's important to know that obviously you could go the route of doing custom wireframes every time. But when it comes to bigger projects or just getting the project you want, why reinvent the wheel every single time? Why always start from scratch? When you have something like this, you could start from something that somebody's really thought through on these components, and then just customizing it a bit saves so much time. So this is the way that I do wireframing for my website projects. Whenever I'm working with clients, I like to use either this simple design system if it's a really simple website. If it's something more complex, then I'll use Rayloom, because it just has so many more components to it. Over 5,400 components that you can use, and you can just pull in all kinds of sections here. You have to know where to look, but you can pull these in. And I just love, it's the same exact process. So if I found something here that I really liked, then I can insert my instance. And again, I can change this between desktop and mobile. And they have a bunch of sections that you can use. They have 3-column and 2-column and hero and about and all kinds of things you can imagine. Icons, forms, home pages, legal pages. I mean, so many things in here that it makes me feel like a designer when I'm really not a designer. It lets me do what I love doing, which is building and architecting websites. I like to think of myself as a marketing architect, and a website is a system. And if the system is built correctly, if it has the right structure, if it has the right components, then it's going to be a lot more successful. And so wireframing is that process of getting there, getting the structure right, and then you go in and put in the images, all the final style and design, all the colors, all that kind of stuff. And then it gets really exciting. And you're going to save yourself a lot of time in most cases if you do the wireframes, because you've already thought through everything and you already know kind of how it's going to look. And then you just go in and add the final touches to it. So hope you found this video helpful. Again, this was in a response to someone asking for a video on how to do a wireframe. So I wanted to show more than just, yeah, you take a few frames here and you build one. I mean, you could do that. You could just come in here and start putting in shapes and different things, like I said before, putting in some shapes, and maybe you put in some button shapes too, and pretty soon you'd have a little wireframe here. Maybe this is a, there's some columns, and so you could definitely do it this way, and you know you could have something. It also doesn't take a ton of time to have something like this. And see, these aren't even the right amount. I have to get these to be the right exact level here, and this would be. So there's still things that even just right here that I tried to do quickly that I have to fix. But so you could do something like this, and build out a little section, and then you could build out the next section and the next section and the next section. But if you can use a kit or some of these assets, and a lot of them are free to use, like this simple design system, going to save you tons of time as you build out your wireframe, and have a lot more success with your website. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you in the next video.